Hello, welcome to an overview of what's new in Aqua Data Studio. The current version is 21.1, and there was recently the 21.0 version. So we're going to combine an update in this video, and then this video will be posted to the resource site. And so that's what I'm showing here. The home page for Aquafold has been updated. And so under Help About, you can see the current version is 21.1. And then there's a link to the Aquafold site. So that's the community site homepage, and then there's drill downs from there. Here's a new link to the e-store, and I have a couple of these tabs open. So maybe just to mention those good areas here on the homepage where you can see what's new in that version. And then here's a link to the reoccurring webinar. So we cover the new features in the bi-weekly webinar. So you're encouraged to join that or share that with colleagues. And then you have the drill down pages across the top. So lots of helpful resources here. You can drill down into the platforms page, and then these are hyperlinks as well. And so what we're pointing out in this release are some of the new platforms that were added. So SQL Azure Synapse, MongoDB Atlas, and also Amazon Athena. And so these are hyperlinks. You can drill down into any of these pages and see a summary of what Aqua can do and where Aqua helps in that platform. And then there's videos. Again, this is where we'll post this update video. And then different pricing benefits under the pricing drill down. So you're encouraged to explore that, and there's different promotions that you can benefit from in terms of discounts with numbers of users. And then there's also some new licensing options. So let's introduce a few of these areas in an overview slideshow, and then we'll dive into a live product demonstration on what's new in these versions. Okay, so just a screenshot here of the new homepage for aquafold.com. And then here's a list of what was added, both in 21.0 and 21.1. And to get access to this, if you're an existing customer, you can drill down into the portals and download a newer version and upgrade. Otherwise, if you're a new customer, aquafold.com has the download form, and then you can easily install and turn on a trial version for all the features listed here and all the time-saving features in Aqua. So there's always a what's new listed, and then here's a highlight of the database platforms. Some of these were new, and then Oracle 19 had an updated driver, so we have examples of those to show you. And then a number of new features that were driven by customer requests, and so those are now available. There's a data masking feature that we'll take a look at, the ability to generate table and table data. So you have a random table and data generator, and you can separate those or populate existing tables with synthetic data. Scheduling has been added in recent releases, so that continues. The Mac OS schedule tasks have been added if you use Aqua on a Mac or Apple environment. And then more scheduling for projects. And so projects are an advanced feature in Aqua, and now you can schedule the Aqua scripts, which are JavaScripts and some powerlifting features in Aqua that we're starting to reveal in some different licensing. And so you'll learn more about that. And if you work in a team environment, these are areas that would benefit taking advantage of Aqua in a team environment where you have projects and scripts that you can schedule and automate, version control integration. So those are appealing to the group environments of Aqua users. MongoDB has now added an import-export for JSON files. So that's just a drop-down in the wizard where you'll see that listed with the other options for import or export. VoltDB has been supported in Aqua for a number of years, so they added some new DDL options. Over 10 drivers were updated. And then, again, the time of year and some different promotions are always being made available. And so explore the pricing drill down on the community site, and then you can reach out to an account manager to talk about ways you can benefit or combine some of your Aqua licensing. So just a couple of screenshots, and we have some live environments to look at these. So these are latest platforms in 21.0 and 21.1. So always adding more of the Amazon platforms. And so here we have Athena and tables and views in the read-only S3 environment. So that's growing more and more, where we have a lot of the Amazon RDS support, and we had Redshift for years, and now we've added Athena. There's the import-export JSON for MongoDB. Data masking we'll take a look at. Not a heavy footprint, but an easy way to hide sensitive data. If you need to keep certain data fields hidden, or you want to share a result set to users where there's proprietary information, you have an easy utility now to enable that just for certain fields or for all fields. And then there's a wizard to quickly turn that off or on. So lightweight, easy to use data masking. Scheduling continues as we mentioned, so we'll look at that in the tools menu with a right click, where you can right click on a connection and schedule a SQL or an export or even an email, a data set. And now we've added that to the Mac environment. And then for Aqua scripts and projects, you have that as well. And that's the projects pop out. So if you're new to that, it's been there in Aqua, but maybe a newer area, so we'll introduce the projects pop-out. So you have the servers, the file system, and then the projects are the three dockable pop-out windows in Aqua. And then the licensing has some flexibility now, and so there's something called Aqua Ultimate licensing, and again, there's some promotional pricing on that. Helpful for the team environment, and then some power features that were in other technologies in Aqua that were maybe hidden from the client, the Aqua Data Studio client install. And so now we're bringing in some heavy lifting server capabilities and unlocking that or revealing that in the Aqua Data Studio client install. So we'll look at some of those, and that will continue to grow with new versions and new releases. We're already building code for 21.5 or 22.0, depending on which version we jump to. This list continues to grow, so not every database or icon is listed here, but we updated some of the Amazon platforms, and really RDS would apply to a number of the traditional RDMS platforms that now we support on a hosted or cloud environment. So look for this to continue to grow as usual, and then again, the end user community helps drive other features. So we're already working on those and helping all these types of users. So we have lots of videos that go over some of the core features here. So we'll focus on the new features in this updated video, and then there's resources on the community site that you can visit. Okay, so again, I have some tabs here that were opened. I'll minimize those, and then just under Help About, you can see the latest version is what I'm showing, 21.1. So I created a new folder, right? You can easily create server groups, and so I created some of the new platforms that we've added in this release. But if I click on a new connection, register server, or the very first icon for register server, you'll see the ability to add connections or connect to a database platform. And so there you can see Amazon at the top, just for the alphabetical list here. And then some of these are hover over text, right? So you see MongoDB, and then we added Atlas. So you see the highlight over there with Tutu and then Mongo Atlas. For RDS, that's what you'll see as well, right? So Postgres, you can hover over Postgres and see all the different platforms that are supported there, whether it's AWS, RDS, Google Postgres, right? So this is a way to see. And then in the documentation, there's other ways. So you might see it listed here. So here we list both SQL Azure and Azure Synapse. MongoDB, you hover over and you can see that. And then within the documentation is listed what version and drivers are supported for all these. So what's great about Aqua is there's bundled drivers for all these different platforms, and that's what makes it very easy to connect. And then once you connect, you're encouraged to explore. And so, here in a traditional RDBMS for, say, the Microsoft SQL Server platform, you'll see the databases drill down, snapshots, management, security. So if I expand my databases node, I'll see my databases listed, and then my object types. And so here with some of these other database platforms that we've added, you can see some of those differences. So here in the SQL Azure environment, we have the databases management security, drill down, and then you'll see your available databases there, and you can set up filters. And then MongoDB as a NoSQL environment, that's interesting and revealing, where you drill into your databases, and then you see a list of database platforms, but then you'll see not tables, but collections, right? And so in NoSQL environments, you query against collections, and so you see that and can learn that. And then we have some examples here that we can look at as well. So when you right-click in these environments, you'll see the ability to create or alter those objects as you might expect. So you're encouraged to right-click in the navigation tree and explore these different environments. Here under the query history, a popular feature is the SQL history. So you can see different platforms that have been executed SQL here to set up this demonstration environment. And then you can have an unlimited history and really dive into a new platform once you know how to use Aqua well in an individual platform. So here are some examples of just some query analyzers I've opened in different environments. And so you could see the collection SQL here in, say, a MongoDB environment, right, where you see the flattened syntax. And so that might be new to some of us. And then you have the expanded query icons for executing one or multiple and bringing back different result sets very easily, right? So those features are all consistent and work well, as you might expect in any platform in Aqua. And then you have other shortcuts and benefits for individual platforms, right? So right click on a connection and you'll see different shortcuts expanded in the tools menu. So that can be time saving versus driving from the main menu, and then you'll be prompted for what platform you're using that in. Okay, so just wanted to cover some of the main areas in this release. And so let me just go up to the top list here for us. And then I have some tabs opened up for us. And so Athena, Azure Synapse, MongoDB with the newest platforms, drivers for Oracle, and some other drivers. So that just really improves performance, which is important, obviously, to the experienced and savvy Aqua Data Studio user. Another tip with performance is bumping up the memory available for your machine, right? And so under the help drill down memory monitor, this is a way where you can increase the memory available for Aqua. So that's a quick tip on performance. But the drivers always help connectivity and performance. And so that continues, and look for those in future releases. And then in terms of some of the newer areas that we wanted to point out, some of the scheduling continues to exist. And so let's take a look at some of those and then just mention the Mac environment that exists for. And so the tools menu has the create scheduled task. And so here you can see some examples of that. So the tools menu, create scheduled tasks, or right click on a connection and there's a shortcut to the tools menu. And so there you continue to see the create scheduled task for what had existed in Windows, and now you have that on a Mac environment as well. And this would step you through a wizard here where you can name a job or a scheduled task, and then there's 3 or 4 different tabs here that would allow you to execute or save that scheduled task. So you can just type in a query or open up a saved query, execute that, and then save this to your environment, perhaps have email settings set up to email an output result to. And then this can be saved and rerun. So if you need to run or schedule a query and send that output to a certain user, that's existed in Aqua. And now we have this in the Mac OS as well. And now what we've extended is the scheduled task for Aqua scripts. And so this starts to introduce some of the new features or powerlifting features that are now in Aqua Data Studio Ultimate Edition. And so here you can see the servers pop-out window, but the projects is also a dockable or pop-out window. And that may have never been used by existing Aqua users. So we're trying to encourage exploring Aqua projects. And so here's some different groupings or samples. If I right click new project, these are some Aqua scripting capabilities, and now you can schedule these. So if you're familiar with JavaScript, that's very similar to AquaScript, and now these have the ability to schedule. So might be a little advanced if you're new to Aqua, but definitely worth exploring if you work in a team environment and would, again, like to benefit from scheduling and automation. So we have that for a single client install, and now some of the server scripting capabilities. So we have more information on this, and look for this to continue. This is just an overview video. We have some of our longer webinars that can go into some more details if you're interested in Aqua scripts. Okay, so data masking was another feature that is easy to use and just available in a right click on a connection or the tools menu as well. And so the data masking exists from either right click menus or the tools menu. So here, maybe if I bring out my servers connection again, here, let me open up, say, a query editor or query analyzer to maybe some sensitive data, right? So here I have a stockbroker environment. I have client broker tables. And so if I just simply query a table or data that might be a little bit sensitive, that'll open up in a new window here. And so let me just execute a query against a certain table or field that might have some values that I'd like to hide or mask. Okay, so if you drive from the main menu, Tools, Data Masking will then say, okay, what's the database you're working with? And so that's where you learn a benefit of right-clicking on a connection. And so you'll see the shortcut there. So here's a database with some client and broker tables. And if I invoke the data masking, it shows it for all tables available for that connection, right? And so here's some existing tables I've set up some masking for. You can turn that off and on for individual tables and then turn off masking entirely, right? So here it's not enabled, but I had it set up for an existing field. Click configure and you'll see all the tables or views available in that connection. Highlight a table or view, and then you'll see the ability to mask, right? So you have a drop down here, not masked or no, and then even the ability to put a static value in there. And so here's maybe a quick example for us where I have a client table here and perhaps maybe an age, right? A year of birth might be a value that I'd like to hide or not hide, right? And so here, when I query this table, I can execute that and I see those fields as they exist currently. But if I wanted to hide or mask, right click, Tools, Data Masking, and then you have the ability to set this up individually or manually choose the field that you're looking to hide or mask, right? And so here, perhaps I'll hide the date of birth of a client, right? And that might be a field or value, or maybe have some revenue values. Any example would fit. And so here I'll save that and now enable data masking. And so now when I save this just to this Aqua client, this Aqua install, rerun this query, now data masking has been enabled. And so on this field that I changed to null, I see all those data values are hidden. So easy to use, and then you can configure and then turn it off or on entirely. So you can easily switch back just by a right click to turn that off or on from the tools menu. All right, so the data masking, helpful, easy to use. Generating table and table data, table scripts and table data has now been added. And again, easy to find on the right click menu, also on the tools main menu, and you'll be prompted to choose the connection. So again, I'll choose this from this existing test database I have for stock values, and you can choose the prefix for the random table names. There's an Aqua prefix and a random number, and so we'll use that as an example. So here I'm right-clicking on a connection, and that will open up the random table or data generator. So those can be separated. It'll default to where you're connecting to, and then you can choose just to generate tables and then include populating them with data, or you can point to existing tables and populate those with random data. So here's a list of existing tables. So you can choose that as an option if you have existing tables, or maybe you've already taken this step, where here I'll select Generate Random Tables. There's a prefix that you can change, but there's some defaults. A range of columns and a range of table numbers, right? So how many tables, and then what's a range of columns you want within those tables. So let me just bump this down just for this example. And it would vary, right? So there may be 5, there may not be. So you can increase that and see what happens. Same with the columns, right? So you have a random capability here. So I'll drop those to some smaller amounts. And then you could generate a script to execute a later time, or execute that to a database. And so that's easy to use and available. I'll click Generate to a Database. You'll see the output and the success of that. And then I can either close this window, but here, why don't I bounce over to my connection and then just refresh this connection for this environment, and you'll be able to see those newly named tables and see the Aqua prefix for those. So I'll drill into this investment broker database, drill into my tables, and there you can see a random name and number for an existing table. Query that or right click on that, and you can script that to a new window and query that and see the data. In this case, it was an empty table. And so that would be a table without any data. You can go back and populate those very easily. And then, dropping tables is also very easy, right? So once you have, say, random tables generated, you can right click and drop those, and that would enable easy scripting in Aqua as well. So here, run that query, and you'll see this would just be an empty table, right? So two random column names, a random table name, And then, you could rerun this again, right? And so maybe I wanted more tables in this example, and so this would be able to execute for you, and then again populate or refresh this in a way that you'd see those new tables without a lot of effort. And then you could save some of these scripts and populate those in different ways. And then history and saving of these are benefits that you'll see, and then the Aqua scripting capabilities you'll see in different windows as well. All right, and so look for that integration that has existed in projects for Aqua scripts, the data masking and random table generator. For MongoDB, we added the import or export JSON. And so here on the drop down of the export, there you see JSON and a MongoDB connection. And then import as well would have that as an option. So as these environments grow, you have that core functionality in Aqua across multiple platforms, and now with just the increase in usage and more momentum with tools that allow you to work remotely and work from home, these features are continuing to grow in Aqua. So we've had a number of releases just in the past year or two, and you can see the website and community sites always adding new features. And so this is one we want you to take advantage of, where you can visit the pricing and then see, you can explore different numbers of users and benefit where you'll have some savings, and then talk to us as well, right? So you can always talk to us and try to combine licenses or upgrade with economies of scale in easy to use ways. Okay, so I think that covers most of the core features we wanted to mention: VoltDB, new DDL options, drivers updated, and then look for the webinars to have maybe lengthier coverage of these new features as well for you. So thanks for joining, everybody. You can download a new version of Aqua in different areas right from the homepage of aquafold.com, or if you drill down into other areas, you'll see ways to download also. Okay, thanks for joining, and good luck with Aqua Data Studio.